Hey, I have been excited about this night all week long. I hope I am dying to introduce you to my new friend. Her name is Katie, and she is a up and coming quilt designer. Her company name is Zahm Co. Oh, I have a slide. I can do that. I can't see the feeds yet. Everybody, Ray is just bringing things up. No, I'm not painting my house. This Someone's going to say something. Let me just dispel the myth right now. I am visiting one of my very best, longest friends. I was going to say oldest friends. That's not polite. Best friends in Phoenix today, and they just moved into this beautiful home in Mesa, Arizona, and she's painting. So that I'm not at my house. Okay. Ray has stuff up. Let me say hi to some friends. Then I'm going to bring on Katie. All right, hang on. Let's see. Let me say hi to my gals. Joanne is on from Mississippi. Hi, sweetheart. Thanks for joining us. Odie, hi, he's on from Oregon. Angel's on from Houston. Hi, Patty. Thanks for joining us tonight. Linda's on from Virginia. All right, looks like YouTube is getting slow to get on. Sandra Garcia's on. Hi. If you're on, say hi. I'd love to say hi back. Linda Wood's on from Texas. Mel and Joe are on. She said, have looked up Katie. Wonderful, she says. Karen. Hi, Karen. Karen is a buddy of mine from Simply Featherweight down in Oregon. She is a solid featherweight lady. If anybody's in Oregon and you are looking for a service or parts, see simplyfeatherweights.com. She's phenomenal. Judy P's on, Franny's on. Hi, Kathy from Woodinville. Thanks for joining us. Or Redmond, technically, I guess. And let's see, Teresa's on. Debbie's on from Kentucky. Sandy Martin's on from California. Hi, guys. Oh, you're at a show. Karen's at a show. So jelly. I miss shows. Northwest Quilters Expo in Portland. Go see Karen, friends, for those of you central to Portland at Northwest Quilters Expo. Okay. Doreen is on from Bellevue. Susan's on from Northwest Ohio. Tracy's on from Virginia. Cindy Matthews is over on YouTube from Autumny. Is that a word? We're making it a word. Autumny is a season. Descriptive adjective from Michigan. Oh, and Missy's on from Redmond. She's cleaning her sewing room. Don't get lost. Don't get lost. Okay. She's laughing. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Katie from Zamco. Here she is. Yay! Yay!
Hi!
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So you and I are new friends. We literally just met yesterday.
We did.
I thought it would be fun to kind of share with everybody how that happened. Because my daughter, Franny, I'm going to give her a raise. Someone's going to say, give that girl a raise. My daughter found Katie. Part of Reagan's job, she has many, many different hats at the store. Mostly it's keeping her mother together. But one of her jobs is to do what I call social media engagement. And so she goes out and she searches hashtags and she looks for, basically, Katie, she looks for beautiful feeds. And you have a beautiful feed. And so I remember she came to me several weeks ago now, and she's like, Mom, you got to check out this girl's Insta feed. She's totally our jam. She's totally our jam. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's good, right? Okay, yeah. And she, so sure enough, she showed me, and I started scrolling, and I'm like, ooh, maybe she'd come talk to me on my show. What do you think, Ray? She goes, well, I'll reach out and I'll see what. Actually, she may have even done it before she even showed me. So it's a good thing. I thought it was pretty too, I guess. No.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No, you're definitely making me blush. But yeah, Ray was wonderful. She definitely reached out. And we kept missing each other at first, but when we finally got in touch with each other, I'm just really grateful that you guys did reach out. But thank you for all your kind words too, even beforehand when we were chit-chatting. Definitely making me blush over here. So
well, I think You're kind of spectacular, and I think you're really going places. And it's nice because you'll actually give me the time of day right now. Maybe in another year, you're going to be like, "Who wants to talk to me?"
Oh my gosh, no, I'll never forget this.
Okay,
It's gonna be
good.
great.
So you have a very distinct style, and I was curious. I sent you some questions. We're going to try to stick to script, but who knows where this evening will lead. So you have a very specific style. Is there anyone in particular that kind of influences you in your design choices, or all your quilts look different, but they have kind of that same flavor and flair to them. And so I'm curious
Mhm,
if how you're working from a body of work or a certain
mhm.
mood, how you put things together, how you pick colors,
Yeah,
palettes, how you do all
yeah.
that.
You said mood, and it reminded me of my fiance. Uh, he says I can go from 0 to Katie a lot, so just
Oh,
the mood can be a wide range.
okay.
But I feel like a lot of influencers, I have two, and it's funny when you asked me this question, or I got like a pre-list to prepare. I was looking at all the patterns that I own, too, and I was like, I'm a big math person, and numbers are my jam. So, I was like tallying how many patterns I have from each designer, and I was gonna say like probably my biggest influencer is Brittany from Lo and Behold Stitchery.
I love her homecoming pattern.
Oh, it's
Love her homecoming pattern.
great.
I've made 3. I've made my mother-in-law make 2. Love that
Yeah.
pattern.
Yeah. And so it worked out because I definitely own more of her patterns and even executed them. Like I've made more of her patterns than I think any other designers out there. But I mean, I like how she really hones in on I'm going to kind of answer two questions in one on the
Okay.
traditional part of it. And, a lot of my modern designs are inspired by the tradition. So I'm like all about like the symmetry and even sashing, like my new quilt design will have that. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But I enjoy, like a lot of the negative space and the simplicity of them.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
think as someone that came out of the quilting world, like machine quilting, long arming, I particularly lean into designs that do allow me a lot of creative freedom in wide open spaces. It's one of the reasons why I'm such a fan of the modern movement, because it's a low piece work, even some low volume solid fabrics. It allows me wide open spaces to play with my quilting machines and design and make it my own. So that that was one of the reasons that my eye was really drawn to yours, because you leave lots of play space for those of us who like to add our own little,
Thank
artistic
you.
elements to
Thank
it.
you.
So,
Yeah. Like another influencer who really isn't necessarily a pattern designer is Bonnie Christine. She's a surface pattern designer at Art Gallery Fabrics. I
okay.
actually took one of her classes, and she has an immersion class I took a little earlier this year.
Uh-huh.
But anyhow, she really like hones in on, even though it's pattern surface designing, which isn't exactly what I do, but she really hones in on your creativity and finding your creativity, and like if it's an environment or outside influences, colors, like all of that. And she's really helped me, that class has really helped me grow in that community that she has. So I would highly recommend looking into her if you're
That's awesome.
not
That's
familiar with
awesome.
her.
How many patterns have you put out? I was kind of taken with one I mean, I had several that I really were quite fond of, but I actually had to pick one because I'm going to do one of your patterns on my
Yeah.
sip and sew in a few weeks. And so I chose artwork, but how many patterns have you actually completed? How many are available out on your website? And I know you have a spectacular one on its way, which I'm pretty excited about. But so tell us a little bit about how far in the journey you are.
So I only have two out there. I have one, my first one, Artwork Quilt. That is kind of like a complete package, in the sense of it has different variety, like two different versions with multiple sizes. It also, I have digital and printed that pattern. And then my second one is Desert Willow. It's just in a throw size right now, and it's also on my website in a digital version. I tried to make it multiple sizes, and honestly, I just didn't really like it, so we just kept it that throw, like 60 by 60 inches. But
Okay.
I do have a lot coming up that we can do
Yay.
some sneak peeks if you guys want. That I've been working on, and I've completed a few, and yeah, so
Yeah, you
we'll.
have some major life event going on in November that slowed your progress. What's going on?
Yeah, I've been planning a wedding,
Yeah, she's
which
getting
is
married, folks.
taking a lot more energy than I thought. So, also have a
Any,
day job, so
right.
just
Oh yeah.
battling all that. Yeah.
I am. When some naturally creative people need an outlet. So I actually, one of the questions I asked you yesterday, I was like, so is this your full-time job? What do you do? And what did you tell me what you did?
Oh yeah, like my typical 9 to 5. I work in IT healthcare, so.
Talk about I'm mind-numbingly boring.
I do love IT, but yeah, it's definitely 100% different than any Zahm co-related products.
Yeah. And you said you were quilting for a while. Tell us about how you found quilting and sewing.
Yeah, I'd love to. I was introduced into quilting in high school. Actually, I took a sewing class, so we dabbled into a lot of things. I made like a placemat, a purse, a denim skirt. Actually, it's like my only
Nice.
garment I think I've ever made. But then we did a quilt from start to binding, and it's a smaller quilt. It's kind of like a wall hanging size, but that definitely got me going into sewing. I think my parents got me my machine like that birthday of that year in high school, and I kind of being a kid and young, I didn't really stick with it
Yeah.
per se. I took some classes here and there after college,
Yeah.
but I also lived in an apartment, and
Yeah.
that small living lifestyle is kind of hard with quilting. I like to be spread out, keep things where they are, hence like my shelf. I'm also a fabric collector on the side, which I haven't really met a quilter who's not a fabric collector, but anyhow.
We were well equipped for the pandemic with our stacking.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh no, what
But
will I sew?
yeah, I've been consistently quilting though, I would say, for the last 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And even though you had not heard of a featherweight or have ever sewn on one, ladies, forgive her. She has committed to coming back on in a few months after she can get her feet on the ground. And she also has committed to finding someone around her in Denver, Colorado with a featherweight she could at least try.
I have watched so many videos now, and I even went antique shopping for some wedding items over the last like few weeks, just since we've scheduled this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe I'll find one here. Like, I'm not even sure where you'll find them, but I'm like looking in every possible way just to kind of get my hands on one. But
yeah,
you guys can help me there.
They tend to be really elusive for a while, and then you like find 3 and you buy all of them because you think, oh, I may not find another one ever again.
Yeah. Well, you guys can guide me on where to go, or if anyone's in Denver or Colorado, especially.
You got to try it first, though.
Yeah.
It's a little different than your Bernina, I can assure you. Just
Yeah.
a little different. What else? So tell us. So you have some quilts. I asked you to pull out some quilts so you can show us some of your work. So is that what's sitting on your board behind you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to see what I've designed, or just ones that I've made?
Ones you've designed, and maybe your favorite one. That isn't
Okay,
one that
we'll
you've
start with
designed.
artwork because this is just my baby. This is just my first one I've put out into the world.
This is the one I bought.
Yeah. So this is a baby size.
Oh, it's so cute. Did you quilt that on your Bernina?
I did.
Very cool. I love it.
And I love the backing of it. The small flows.
That's pretty.
I have the one that's on the actual pattern over here on the ground, but my puppy dog decided to use it and lay on it right now.
Oh, can't disturb the puppy dog. Totally fine.
And then here's the Desert Willow. And I quilted this one too. I've actually only long armed one of my quilts.
Oh, okay. Look at you. Good job.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I feel like it's completely mine when I do the whole thing.
Well, but
Um,
at some point, you're going to make something that's too big for your scope or scale, and
yeah,
then you're going to have to. I mean, I truly believe that no matter how devoted the quilter to the process, there at some point in every quilter's journey, you'll make something that will be beyond you, whether it's a spatial, constraint, an. So I you just never rule it
definitely.
out, but.
Oh no, and I've done it once before. I'll definitely, yeah, you're right. I'll come a time where I'm gonna keep going and using it.
So
This is
thank
Desert
you.
Willow. I don't know. Hopefully you guys can kind of see this.
It's just so striking with that dark, the dark being in the negative space being versus it being a light one. It's so dramatic. Love it.
And I used the dark thread on the back.
Oh, look
To
how you
do
quilted
the
that. That's
quilting, which
awesome.
I really like. I've never
What kind
done
of
it.
batting did you use? It seems really fluffy.
I used wool batting,
Oh,
which
that's why.
I'm a huge fan of.
I have so many clients that are allergic to wool, so I kind of developed an aversion to it myself. But I love the way it looks lofty and it looks weighty, and those are my two favorite combinations.
Mm-hmm. I would. Have you tried bamboo?
I tried bamboo on one quilt, and it wasn't mine. I was quilting it for someone else. It was like a door prize on a quilting cruise. So
Mm-hmm.
it felt like a cashmere sweater as I was feeding it into the long arm. And I really liked the end result, but because it wasn't mine long term, I have no idea how it wore, if it
Yeah.
pilled, if it, how it washed. I have no idea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it was easy to sew
Well,
with.
I I have many that are mine, so long term, I can give you an update on how those look.
Okay.
But so far, short term, meaning like maybe 2 years, I've loved the bamboo because of the allergies, but it still kind of gives you that.
That lofty, weighty
Mhm,
feeling.
yeah.
Yeah.
This one's not my design, but I am so in love with it.
Look at those
Because
fabrics.
I hand quilted this one.
Did you say
Um,
hand? You hand quilted something?
I did hand quilt. I hand quilt the whole thing, and I love it so much.
Girl, God created sewing machines and He expects us to use them. Hand is a 4-letter word in my household. Look at how pretty that is, though.
Um,
Love the secondary design. Is that like a gray thread, too?
it is, yeah.
Oh,
It's
that's
kind of a
gorgeous.
green gray. I couldn't tell, but it matched with I don't know. I feel like the theme of the color, but I also hand stitch the back of my binding every
No,
time.
no. Your Bernina will do a beautiful job.
I just like the look of it. Yeah.
I know. I'm weird. I get shamed all the time. I
Um,
just don't have the patience to sit still long enough to hand quilt, bind, anything.
yeah.
I'm kind
So,
of a
I mean,
script.
I could keep going for probably hours and hours,
Well,
but
I see your puff quilt there, and I'm releasing this as a class in the new shop when we open on October 1st. And yours has greens, which are my favorite.
well, it's not done. It's a work in progress, but yeah, I love this one. And this
I'm
one,
excited.
well, this one is actually going to be for our wedding. We're going to have people sign the back of it instead of
Great
like a book.
idea. That's
Yeah,
awesome. It's
and that
already
also
pre-made. You're on top of things.
I I'm trying to be. I feel really behind. But
It'll feel like that right up until the day before, and then you're like, it's just little details, and then you're like, it's really not that important.
mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
for sure. So tell me, tell me what the big dream is. Like, do you want this to be your full time job? Do you want to have that published book? Like, where do you kind of see? I mean, I realize at this point you're what I would call an extreme hobbyist. If you're making money at your hobby, then you've gone out of the recreational hobby arena. So
Mm-hmm.
tell me what the big dream is.
Ooh, this is definitely. I'll say this. I mean, every day is towards a goal of being able to do Zomco full time. Um, you know, what that really means in the sense of, like you said, like a book or more, you know, designs or some sort of classes. You know, we're talking about like offering online classes or, you know, even having fabric and doing like the bundles with my designs and things like that. I'm not really sure what that vision is per se today, but I can tell you that every day I feel like I'm working on getting closer to having Zomco as full time would be a major accomplishment and make me super happy. That'd be
I
really exciting.
I know for me, I mean, I'm 15 years into my professional sewing career, starting out with long arming and then teaching classes, which brought around Featherweight Doctor and the e-commerce website and
Mm-hmm.
now the store. But I was challenged about I was still living in Scottsdale, so that was probably a little more than 2 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, do you know of Chip and Joanna Gaines from the Magnolia Network?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, do you live under a rock, right? So I remember, I remember a couple of years ago, Reagan, I think, had found it that they had put out a kind of what's your dream kind of email, and they were looking for people to apply for their network, like to put together shows or whatever. And I remember at that point, Featherweight Doctor was a toddling company. We had lit a little match and kind of created a forest fire, and we didn't know how to contain or know what we were doing. And I remember reading about that, them calling out for the big dream. And I remember thinking, I don't even I hadn't even had time, and maybe you just don't have the headspace with the wedding at this point, but like I didn't even have time to kind of think about what is the big dream? Like, where was I going? What is it that what is it that was in my future? And so reading that first from Chip Gaines himself. No, I'm just kidding. Was the first kind of shove in
Mm-hmm.
that direction of not just looking at you sitting at A, B, and C, but how the actual steps in between getting to Z, what that looked like.
Mm-hmm.
And then I backburnered it because we had some life happen and a move back up to the Northwest, and we were sitting down for dinner with some other good friends, and the question came up again: where is this going? Like, where do you want this to go? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I had a little bit more time to think about it, and in my mind, the shop came out, the store. I guess I want a store. I like that just kind of came out, and I thought, I've worked from home for 22 years. My 22-year-old son, when he was 3 months old, I started working from home, and the idea of like going back into like a retail environment, which I did when I was in college, just has never seemed appealing until I blurted that out.
Mm-hmm.
So, and now that's happening for me in another week and a half.
We
So
can, yeah.
I guess
Yay.
my challenges to you, like from someone who's just like maybe a step or two in front of you, is when you have time and headspace to consider where you want it to go, just start thinking about it. I mean, call me. I'm very happy to open up this channel to you and to help introduce new patterns and all of that. I just kind of want to help people get where they want to go, and um, I really like where you're going. So I just think it's a matter of figuring out where you think it's going. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense?
Thank you. Yeah, and I really appreciate that. I love it. I was really gung ho probably this whole beginning of the year. Kind of what you said, like drawing out a map, like how often do I want to release a pattern? When am I ready for all this? And
Yeah.
I think I just gave myself permission to push the pause button with, you know, the season I'm in of
Well,
the wedding
permission
and
granted, girl. You can only do so
not
much stuff.
easy because I feel, you know, you're going to get behind and, you know, those
Yeah.
kind of voices in my head. But, you know, pushing pause and just doing it right and doing it, I don't know, and it's still enjoyable, I guess. So,
For sure.
you know, 2022, it's going to be a bang for Zomco. And
Yay.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But I will definitely take up on the offer and give
Good.
you a call.
Good. Good. Well, I wanted you, you've been working on a new pattern. It is not ready yet, and it won't be ready for a little bit, but you have a block ready, and I thought it would be really cool if you gave us a sneak preview.
I have it sitting right here. Are you ready?
Oh, it's so pretty, you guys. Prepare yourselves.
Okay, this is the block.
Oh my gosh, I love the color gradation. That's so beautiful.
Thank
And
you.
really relatively simple. So for those of you who are newer to quilting, don't let that intimidate you. That is just simple. It's a simple 9 patch, basically broken up. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Lovely,
Yeah,
lovely.
I wanted to have the Sawtooth Star. I've been trying to incorporate that into a pattern. But it is. I'm a huge flying geese fan. In fact, artwork is all flying geese. It's big flying geese though, which I feel like is a bonus.
For sure.
And they're both written in the sense of you can trim them down. So you can kind of, create your flying geese, and there's definitely room to trim, which I feel like is a beginner friendly aspect of it.
For sure.
But yeah, this one, the block I just showed you is called Astra. I'm going to call it Astra Quilt, and it'll be released, maybe March next year, I'm thinking.
Do you think it's going to be available in different sizes, or is the block going to change scope and like she's like, yes.
No, I'm writing it where the block's the same, and then there'll be like 4 blocks for the baby.
Okay.
And then there'll be 3 sizes, and then I'm actually going to do like a pillow because I made a pillow out of this and I thought it was super cute. Well,
I have to make European pillow shams whenever I do a quilt for my bed. So I have to, if there isn't something naturally that comes with the design that's obvious, I design my own European pillow sham to go with the quilt. So it looks like that's what, like 22, 21 inches. So that's about right with borders, basically.
Yeah, definitely. So, and then I actually have one coming out in February. I can't say too much about right now. But I'll keep you in the loop. And website, just throwing this out there. My website is zahm.co. So
I have a slide. Let me just, you talk and I'm going to put the slide up. Okay, go.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love this. Yeah. zahm.co. Perfect website. Last thing. And you can, it will pop up for like a newsletter, and y'all, right now my newsletter is like probably quarterly, so I'm not going to attack your emails or anything. And I'll let you know kind of what's happening in February. As it gets closer, I can share more.
Okay. I have a fan, a wonderful fan named Polly in UK, and she's watching on YouTube. She said, quickly scrolling through at Zamco on Insta, and I love the bobbin quilt.
Oh yeah. That's actually hanging on my wall over here.
That's fun. Very cool.
Yeah.
Check that out when we get off.
Yeah. That's a good one. I made it with Ruby Star, like, what is it, speckle or sparkle fabrics.
Don't you love Ruby Star?
Yes.
Yeah, it's so retro, and some of the designers have real mid-century feel to them. Totally love Ruby Star. Very cool.
It is. Yeah. Well, and so the newsletter, and then like we talked about, both patterns are on there from a digital aspect, so you can download and print it, or use it from your iPad, which I like to do because you can kind of like zoom in and hone in on just the area that you're on.
It's taken me a little bit to warm up to digital patterns because I'm so used to having like paper and book in front of me, but inevitably I misplace them. And so one of the things I really like about the digital pattern, especially the one I got from you, is I've just saved it to my iPad, so I can't lose it.
Perfect. Yeah. And I do have a few artwork printed. I don't have any on my shop, but there's 2 retailers out there that you can order from online that have them, and they also have bundles, especially this one right here. If you have like notes or something, we can add that, Darlene, too, if you want.
Notes?
Yeah, like just show notes.
Reagan will put it in the.
Yeah, we can put the links. Yeah, Ollie Fabrics has one, and then Lamb and Loom. They both have this printed version, and they also have bundles for the
Okay,
pattern.
cool.
Throwing it out there.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us tonight. Is for people, if they want to get the most current, up-to-date information on what you're releasing, when it's dropping, you said newsletter, follow your social media accounts.
Yeah, I'm most active on Instagram, and then newsletter definitely.
Okay, great. Awesome. Everybody's like, she's fun to talk to.
Oh, good. Well, thank you so much for having me. This was
my pleasure.
This was a great opportunity, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think, well, you're going to be getting more requests, so. All right, but you promised to still talk to me in a year, right?
I definitely will,
Okay.
Darlene. Definitely
All right,
will.
cool. Awesome. Well, Katie, thanks so much for joining me here on the show for my tribe. I'll be back on Friday, 4:00 Pacific, on Facebook and YouTube for our favorite show of the week, which is the Sip and Sew. Mom doesn't know it yet, but she's going to be joining me. Oh. Just so you know. My friends are all been creeping around behind me, making dinner and drinking. Where's mine? I'm going to put the slide up as we close the show and let it hang out there for a few seconds if everybody wants to write down information. Katie, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you. And thanks to your tribe for listening. Happy to be here.
No problem. We'll talk to you soon. I'm going to put the slide up. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Mom gets to drink again.